Hello, here's my vlog for the 30th of July. No, January of 2023. I'm doing my video from my room because it's freezing outside. It's like in the negative digits. I have a space heater here in my room, and yeah, so hopefully my little budgie parakeets aren't gonna die of freeze them. I have lots of light out there so they can fly around and stay warm that way. It's probably like, I looked last night, it said 58 degrees in there. They're supposed to deal until like 70, but it said 55. I had another cold snap, but I had my space heater on all night, and then I turned it off for like a little, I guess during the day, because I slept during the day. Yeah, I'm sleeping exclusively during the day. I was like, had the space heater on, I was working, and then, yeah, I like worked all night until like 10:30 in the morning or something, 11 or something like that, 11:30, and then I fell asleep. And now it's like, it's still light out. Maybe right now it's like 4. Hello. That's my cockatiel. And yeah. I literally fell asleep. Like I literally worked until I fell asleep today. Because yesterday, did I do a video yesterday? I think I did, like early in the morning. Yesterday, I was doing a new thing where I was on my education page and looking at activating and choosing connecting fonts from for every single thing on my education page, because my education page is a linking page. It's a portal page. And so every single page that it links to, that page could get its own font. And so the link that I use to take it to that page would be the same font. And so every word is its own font on the page. And it actually makes it work really slowly because the page is so big. I have to wait a long time to attach the styles, but fonts, but yeah, I was doing that, and which was super fascinating and time consuming. But and then for some reason I wasn't able to upload it. I could upload my timeline page because I was working on that, but I can't. So I need to remember to like restart my computer and then reboot Dreamweaver and then see if it'll upload. See what the deal is. But yeah, my computer's been acting weird, like not wanting to upload last few days. So I did that for like, I think that was a day. That was a new project. So I was super like fired up, glued to it. Whenever I do a new project, I'm glued, and for at least the first day. And but at one point, earlier today, this morning, before I went to sleep, I decided that I was going to start doing the images on the horizontal part of my timeline. All of a sudden, I have to do that because I couldn't wait. And I just had to see what it would look like and how it would work, because I have been wanting to have my horizontal history timeline over the last few days, because I've been listening to the Wikipedia articles of the different decades, and that's actually like such a good way to study history, like the best way to study history, because like I was doing a video yesterday, this request video. Somebody asked me to do a video about John Dee, a mystic from the times of Elizabeth I, and I mentioned that uh, in the video that they outlawed, as part of the context of the video, that they outlawed astrology in the 80s in the Roman Empire, you know, because it was part of the conversation. And that was something that, and I knew that because of all of these listening to the Wikipedia articles that I've been doing. And I remember, you know, and you know, that's just the beginning. Like if I keep doing that, it's gonna keep, and then it'll pile up. And pretty soon I'll be freaking omniscient. Like if they'd asked me something about whatever, like now I know that, you know, in the 410s there was a big fire in London and that kind of stuff. So anyway, you're, and then these memories that come up when the context isn't right, you know. So when you need to know them. So yeah, it's so I really wanted to do that. Listen to those, but when I was listening to it, my way to listen to it with my timeline, because I wanted to, you know, look at the timeline. Timeline could create the world, and I'm trying to look at the world with the horizontal part of the timeline, because I have this new thing that I just created last week. Like I'm creating all these new things like every couple days. Yeah, that's kind of like the problem with my website. Like it's like a catch-22 problem. As soon as I'm almost done or something, or I feel like I'm making so much progress with something that I know that I could finish it, that makes me feel really ambitious. And so then I start thinking of, like, all of a sudden all these other things that I would like to do seem possible too, because the thing that I'm working on is so possible. So then I just stopped working on what I'm working, and I go work on those other things because they seem so possible, you know. And then I get started, and then I just dance around, and so there's like no ending to it. But I mean, there is an ending, but it's like the ending could be like when I'm 60 or 70, you know, or 80. So anyway, I yeah, I suddenly realized that I wanted to look at my I wanted to. Oh yeah, the thing that, because the thing that the other day are these this plug that you put over the front and a plug over the past, the future and the past, and those pages themselves act as timelines, general timelines, so not fixed to history, timelines of like just different things, developments of things. So it's perfect to put on either side to give you an idea of the passage of time. And so I give a sliver of 100 years with whatever decade that I'm listening to, because the random number generator decides it, is right in the middle. So you picture yourself as somebody who's destined to live 100 years, which people have done since the beginning of time. Like there was a king of a kingdom in southern Spain. I think it was Cadiz, and in like prehistoric times, like Iron Ages, like 1000 BC, who lived to 120. So, and I looked in my ancestor list, and I saw this lady who lived to 106 in Scotland in like the 1600s, you know. So anyway, so you picture yourself getting to 100 years, and you know there are a lot of famous people who made it, who lived 100 years. One of these famous philosophers lived exactly 100 years, and I can't remember which one it was, but anyway, you picture yourself as somebody who lives 100 years, and so you just and now you're a 50-year-old like me. I'm almost 50, and so 50 is like a good age, because that's when you still have your physical strength and you have good mental power and everything. You know, you're kind of at the top of your game. So and you have, you know, memory of a long time in the past, and yeah, you. So anyway, you're like right in the middle. Well, you're exactly in the middle of your life. So you whatever decade, you just put that in the middle, right? And then you just look around it. But the problem with my timeline is there's nothing to look at because I never got to that section. So and I'm like, oh my god. So anyways, I and I wanted to see what it looked like. So I started working on that this morning, but it was right before I was like naturally gonna fall asleep. So I think I was working on it for maybe like a half hour, 20 minutes, and I just literally like I work until I pass out every day, and it's the best way to do it. That's why I'm nocturnal, because if you just follow your body, listen to your body, circadian rhythm, you know, you don't decide when you sleep and when you're awake. And for some reason, my body only wants to be awake at night and only wants to sleep during the day. And I think one reason for that is to minimize how much sleep I get. Like, I don't need that much sleep if I'm not exercising. I only need maybe, like today, I got to sleep at maybe noon and got up at, I only got like 3 or 4 hours of sleep today. And so, and I feel completely awake now. Like I don't yawn because of tiredness. I yawn because of something else. Maybe it's the weed, but it's because I don't exercise. But because my body's in kind of like a hibernation state. Um, but I yeah, so I might, but I might like get groggy later on and take a nap, you know. So it's awesome. But anyway, I have really good experience with every single night with working until I fall asleep. So I know what it feels like. And so what happens is I'm working. This is what happens every night. I work, and then you know how hunger pangs happen? Like all of a sudden you're hungry. Like you feel that pang in your stomach. Like boom, it just happens. It's like you can actually trace to the second when you become hungry. Well, it's the same thing with my brain. Like I'm working, chugging along, and then all of a sudden, like hitting a light switch. All of a sudden, my IQ drops like 20%. Like just like that. I can feel it. It goes. It's like I get powered down. Yeah, and I'm like, and all of a sudden, like my short-term memory goes away, and so I have to like double check things all the time. And at that point, I'm like, oh, okay, because then about 10 minutes after that is when I actually start feeling physically groggy. And when I start to feel physically groggy, that's when I know that if I lie down, I'll probably go to sleep. Or if I don't go to sleep, I'll at least be really comfortable lying there, and that'll probably end up turning into going to sleep. And so, um, you know, following your body. And so, and I kind of wake up a lot slower than that though. I wake up like my body wakes up more than I physically wake up because I like to lay because I'm so relaxed. But you know, like I'm really slow to stop working. I'll work until I pass out, but I'm also a little bit on the slow end to start working. Um, but anyway, it's not going to be like that anymore because I just ran out of weed. Like an hour ago, I ran out of weed or whatever, and I blew $50 of weed like 2 days ago, 3 days ago or something, and I already burned through it. And so it's like just burning money, and uh, and I had to do it in advance for that. And so now I'm like totally broke, like I'm making no money anymore. And only I have huge expenses. So like the only way I'm gonna get through, and like I owe taxes from last year, so I can forget about that. I ain't paying my taxes for last year. I'll just have to go into collections. But which was what happened last year. But I so that means no weed this month. You know, um, just eat like the food that I have in here, like the vegetables and the rice and the pasta, and my my protein drink, yeah, and just work and sober up. So, but it's happening at a good time because I'm like I've got so much work. It'll actually be interesting to be totally sober because I have all these different things I'm trying to do. And I think my mom will kind of have my back too. Like I'll be able to go and eat over at her house. So my overhead will only be like, but I'm like a crazy out spender. Like I blew $175 the other day on like tubes for a new hamster or ferret tube up here. Anyway, what was I saying? So I started working on the horizontal timeline, right? And at the beginning, and so then I woke up today, and I was like, I looked at it, and I'm like, oh right, that. And I started looking at it, and because I was so tired last night when I started doing it, I hadn't formed a philosophy about it yet. So I formed a philosophy about it today, and I suddenly came to this epiphany. I was like, oh wow, wow. I realized that I could. It's number one. It's extremely simple procedure, um, and it's two. It's extremely beautiful and simple design, and it's like totally like space efficient. So basically, what I decided to do was, use my icons because I only got my icons recently. Like, I did this major icon download like a couple weeks ago, for the first time. Like, I've been working on this website for 20 years, and it was only until now where I'm finally starting to plug in icons and fonts. But I'm glad that I did that I waited that long. It was a smart tactical decision because now, and it wasn't like this until I think there's a big flooding now, maybe even especially since COVID because people had so much time to work at home, but there's just now I can literally get whatever I want in terms of icons and fonts. Like if I want a font of any country every country in the world gets its own font. Um, you know, every single link gets its own font, and I won't have a problem with getting its own font for the titles or for the text because there's just a gazillion of them. Same thing with the icons. Like there's like icons for like 50 different individual cities. I mean buildings. Notre Dame, not just Notre Dame, but all these cathedrals and so it's just historical things from around the world, historical cities, and it's or stuff that represents stuff. So anyway, then I did the download and I have it all. So anyway, my design is really cool because at first I didn't really know how I wanted to do it. I actually haven't tested it yet. I'm doing the video talking about it. I hope it works, but I could tweak it a little bit. But the idea is that I get I put the horizontal timeline underneath the kings, and I have 50 columns across, and so each column is set to 2%, and then I throw in my icons, which are already 20 pixels, and so when I threw them in there, it looked like it fit perfectly, meaning. And I need to check. And if it doesn't work, it's not that big of a deal because I'll just change the size a little bit. 20 is like the smallest that I wanted to go. But if I absolutely have to, I guess I could take it a little bit smaller. But I don't think I'll have to. I think it'll work. But we'll see. But I'll check it. I'll just check it on my computer and then on my cell phone. But but anyway. So it's 50 across, and so you could put 50 icons across, 52 20 pixel icons across the computer screen, and it won't make the computer screen puff up more than the screen, I think. And if not, I'll just make the icons a little bit smaller. But because I have had some other icons I noticed on my site that were at 15 that I set to 15. So, and if I set it to 15, it'll definitely do it. But anyway. And so, and then I have the background of each. So, it's because I started with South Europe 0 to 500. So that's the Roman Empire. It's a really good one to start on because there's a lot of detail on it. Um, and So I have 3 rows of it. Just from dragging up the icons, because I already have a bunch of icons that I already put there. So all I have to do is copy and put them up on the top. And so I have 3 different rows. And so one of them was for structures, buildings, engineering stuff. One of them is for wars, battles, and the other one is for books, literature. And so I set the background as red for the battles, and then dark blue, actually the same background as my website, for the buildings, and then like purple for the books. And these are all kind of like dark colors. And so then you can put little borders around the tables to signify whatever the building is, and then the background for the table that the icon is in to show what building it is. So there's actually 2 things you can color code it to show what you're talking about. Well, actually 3 things, like the background, because one of the rows is going to be, for the different three things, but then you get individualized background and then the border, so 3. But anyway, but yeah, because I have it. But then the epiphany that I had was I'm looking at these, and it's simple because you set it at 2%, so you just drag it in, and it basically goes to the right decade, and so it doesn't warp it or anything, and so you have these 3 columns. I mean, these 3 rows, and each one of them is pretty much jam packed, like all the way jam packed with images, with these icons, and you have to leave some icons. It's not every icon, but it doesn't matter because a lot of the icons you don't really want anyway because they're just books that I put there from like books that were written in the 1900s that were talking about that time, and you don't need that. And just just things, minor things, but you could fill up 3 whole rows and jam pack all the icons in. So when you're looking at it with the timeline, you're looking at like just icon after icon after icon, which means that it holds true to the whole crystal idea, my rainbow crystal website, because it's crystallized. I mean, they're literally, it looks just like carbon atoms in a crystal. They're just jam packed, and each one of those icons means something. And of course you can link it, right? So you link on the icon on the horizontal website. It takes you down to the vertical where it describes what it is, and then you just click the icon again, takes you back up to the horizontal. So it acts as a perfect like flip card memorization tool for a history test. You can use it as a history test. And like for YouTube, like when you want to grade yourself with history, and also for studying it. And but it also like looks really cool because you're adding, what is that, 50 per row, right? So that's 150 events, right? 150 events in an area that takes about that much sliver of a space, like less than an inch on your computer screen. 150 events over the course of 500 years, and three different types of event. But then you can individualize it with 2 more ways, with the background and which I haven't even really thought about how I would even use that. So yeah, I'm like, and you can all do it really quickly, because the process is you just paste it on there, and then all I have to do is copy paste. I just go down the line. I go, okay, just one by one without even thinking. I just go, okay, that paste, that goes in that. I just put them into different boxes. Fill up the boxes. Next one. So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do now. Proceed to do now, because I'm broke off my ass and I don't barely have enough money to pay rent and eat. And I'm gonna be sober, forced sober, for the first time in like 10 years. So I brought this on myself. So, um, so it's a perfect time to just hunker down in a sober way, because I can work longer and better when I'm sober than when I'm stoned. Because when I'm stoned, I'm always like, ooh, let's smoke some weed, you know? Like, my brain's overheating a little bit, let's smoke some weed, and then I smoke a lot of weed. And then maybe I'll listen to a music video, and then I'll watch some stupid ass YouTube video of people saying some stupid shit. Like, I want to be careful not to get too caught into all of this, like, drama on YouTube, clickbaity drama. It's just mental masturbation, and I mean, it's fun a little bit, but if you start to overdo it, it's just like, I bet you there's so many people who spend all day long watching all this drama from the news shows or whatever, and it's not even news, not realizing they're not even learning anything. So I try to just like watch like a couple minutes a day to see what's going on with the Ukraine war, uh, and yeah. But oh, my mom gave me her Kindle, loaned me her Kindle, and so the book I'm listening to is the Harry book, because she bought that. So it's interesting. First time, you've such a big book written by an active prince. Um, and but I'm not through with it because I was doing a lot of silence yesterday too, just sit around. Oh, but what else was I listening to? I was listening to somebody talking about spiral dynamics yesterday, and yeah, it's kind of hard to remember. Oh yeah, and I was doing some Wikipedia of decades, but like I kind of like burnt out on that. I was like, you know what, I don't want to do it anymore until I get the timeline. But now I'm picturing like doing that, like, right, and you have your little sliver of history, and then you've got like these jam-packed images, and then you click from different country to country, and every single country has these slivers of images. Like, whoa, that'll be a really great tool, especially once you learn a lot, and then, yeah, to help you learn, to look at that. And, because I can look at that while I'm working. Because, like, I work, and then I hear something interesting, and then I just hit down the button and I look at it real quickly, and then I go back to my work. That's the beauty of having everything in your screen that you can move around on. Anyways, that's enough talking. Yeah, so the video was a long time today because it was a new project, basically a new project today. So yeah, I basically abandoned the font. The font was like, whoa, new project. Lasted one day, because now I'm like, oh my god, let's do those icons on the horizontal. So and I didn't finish doing all the icons on the vertical part, so I'm gonna have to add those before I add the horizontal. So this could end up being kind of time consuming. But it sure is quick to get those icons, My computer's fast enough. You just do Control, Shift, or whatever those buttons are. I for image. And it only takes, and then the thing comes up, and yeah, it just takes a few seconds for the things to populate. And I've got, oh my God, I don't even know how many thousands of icons to choose from. I should look. I'll tell you tomorrow, but if I had to guess, and I'm not just including, because it's all in the same folder, I'm not just including the PNG 20 pixel, but I'm including the bigger pixels as well, like the ones that maybe I would use on my website, the bigger pictures. But if I had to choose 20,000, yeah, let's go with 20,000. I'm sure it's a lot more than that, but that was my first guess, so let's just go for it. All right, let's keep this under a half hour. Talk to you tomorrow.